Alright everybody, diecastmania here and welcome back. Today we're reviewing First Gear's 187 scale Komatsu D155AX-8 Bulldozer in the waste handler configuration. This is SKU number 80-0347, and as of May 2022, this is a new tooling. There's also currently an internal run made for Republic Services that is number 80-0346, and that model has some slight changes to it from this version that overall make it a more cost-effective solution as a employee gift. So taking it out of the outer shipping carton, we can see the box for the model itself, and we have a good look at the dozer inside. Overall, the box looks pretty good. It is the standard Komatsu branded box. On the back there is a nice photo of the real machine, and on the bottom is all the usual information, SKU numbers, so on and so forth. So without any further ado, let's get to the model. So inside the box, there are the two clear plastic trays as per the usual standard by First Gear. There's two pieces of tape on either sides of the bottom of the box. Went ahead and cut those already. And the trays just lift apart. And the model is securely snapped into the bottom tray. So go ahead, pull it out just like that, and here we are. Right out of the box, we can notice that this model features fully linked tracks, which is pretty rare in this scale, and especially at this price point. Now, the tracks on this model are unfortunately plastic as opposed to metal, which I would have preferred myself as had been done in the past, but the color match on them is very good, and as we can see, they roll pretty nicely by hand, and even to some extent on the surface here. Metal tracks would have been nice, though these plastic tracks seem to do the job quite nicely as far as display goes. I think metal tracks just would have raised the price of this model. The sprockets and idlers do look rather large, though I think that's just to help hold the tension on the tracks, as you're probably not going to be able to put a spring tension on something of this size. And while we're on the topic of tracks, I'd wholeheartedly agree that these plastic tracks are much better looking than the rubber ones that were put in place on the Republic Services internal run for cost effectiveness reasons. So as far as the functionality goes in this model, the blade raises nice and high. So say you just finished a lift, you could bring it up, back it up, reposition the dozer, go in for another nice big blade full of refuse, and get another push going. The blade levels out with the ground, it just barely goes below grade. The tilt cylinders do move, though not very far, so I wouldn't really count it as much of a movement there. And same with the tilt side to side. So that basically wraps up the functionality on this model. So moving on to the detail, it is a very nice looking model. It is very truly a waste handler specification. It doesn't just stop at the blade. You have the rear mounted hydraulic oil cooler that hump on the back. So to the front of the tracks, there are the track scrapers. The undercarriage itself is pretty nicely detailed. The tracks are a little bit on the larger side, though in this scale things can only get so small before they get prohibitively fragile. The undercarriage is nicely detailed. The graphics on this model are, as usual, very, very sharp. The D155AX, the waste handler. We have the warning graphics. The grill work on the side of the model is just molded in. It looks pretty nice. Good texture there. Moving right along to the underside of the model, we have some decent detailing. You have your screw covers over there, bolt detailing throughout, and the tracks have a decent pad and bolt pattern to them. And here we can see on the front of the blade there's a large trash rack, though unfortunately it is not perforated. Once again, we can see those track cleaners or the striker bars on the front, as well as the rear of the model. Moving along, we can see the lighting package on this model, which includes the amber warning beacon, as well as the other assorted work lights. There's actually a pretty good attempt at the hydraulic line detailing on this model, though the soft lines that actually run from the cylinders to the main body of the tractor are missing, but those can be easily added after with a bit of proper rubber tubing or something. So to wrap up the details, we'll just recap briefly what makes this dozer a waste handler. So on the front, we can see the large blade with the trash rack. There are the striker bars to the front and rear of the tracks that basically prevent material from climbing on and jamming between the tracks and the underside of the body. And the cab air pre-cleaner is modeled as well. The function of that is pretty self-explanatory. And the large hump at the rear is a counterweight as well as the relocated and beefed up hydraulic cooler. So as far as the actual diecast content on this model goes, I believe the side frames for the blade are diecast. The blade itself is plastic. The front part of the engine and the lower frame are diecast. The lower pan part is diecast as well. The rear assembly and the body / cab are plastic, as well as the tracks and bits of the undercarriage. Though the model itself does have quite a bit of heft to it, and the paint finish is excellent, so you really can't tell which parts are plastic and which are die-cast from a visual inspection alone. So with the details out of the way, some of you are probably wondering how the model looks on a 1/87 scale lowboy trailer, so here you go. It is definitely a large and wide load. So to close out this review, the D155AX waste handler by First Gear is a very nice addition to the collection. It is a very well detailed, decently made model. It is pretty cool to see this model offered in this particular configuration, and it complements the other refuse related models in 1/87 scale by First Gear quite nicely, so you could have a transfer station or sanitary landfill type display or diorama on your layout. And it would be nice to see a standard configuration of this model offered in the near future for general earth moving or quarry applications, as I'm sure that there would be plenty of collectors out there looking for that. So in conclusion, this is a very nice model by First Gear. For 1/87 scale, it is a little bit on the higher price side, though it does make up for that in terms of detail, and you do get a very nice model. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.